3 full traditions completed before year 10, not partially but fully completed, with the Ascension perks unlocked, in a patch where most empires are still working on their first tradition tree by that point. Stellaris Nomads introduced a civic that enables this. It gives plus 1000% specialist job efficiency for up to 6 months, and when you combine it with specific technologies and mechanics, those 6 months of boosted output become the equivalent of years of normal play compressed into one small window. In this video I will show you the core strategy, the best builds to exploit it, good synergies to keep snowballing after the celebration ends, and then I will demonstrate the entire thing in a live gameplay, every click so you can replicate yourself. Quick report from High Command before we dive deeper. Most of you watching aren't officially enlisted yet. If this run gives you ideas for your own games, subscribe and join our navy. The foundation of this strategy is a new nomadic civic called the Star Seekers. Most of you have probably seen it, but what most players haven't caught on to yet is how it interacts with other mechanics to produce absurd results in the first decade. Here's how it works. After you explore 50 systems, you unlock the ability to hold a celebration on your archship. During the celebration, your empire receives plus 1000% specialist job efficiency and plus 1000% pop assembly or pop growth for a maximum of 6 months, or until your operational reserves deplete, whichever comes first, and your archship cannot move to another system while it's active. But as we'll see, there is a trick involving the Wanderlust Ascension perk that partially bypasses the movement restriction and combos beautifully with this strategy. I will show that in the gameplay section. The raw math on the celebration is already pretty strong. If you sustain all 6 months, you get the equivalent of 60 months of normal productivity, 10 times the output for 6 months. But we're not going to settle for 60, we are going to multiply it further. Here's the insight that makes this strategy go from strong to absolutely broken. Certain mechanics in Stellaris grant a lump sum of resources calculated from your current monthly production. The Societal Unification technology, once researched, gives you unity equivalent to 12 months of your monthly production. Other events and technologies give similar outcomes. The critical detail is that these calculations use your current production at the moment they trigger, including all the active modifiers. So if Societal Unification completes while your celebration is active, it doesn't give you 12 months of your normal output, it gives you 12 months of your boosted output, which is already 10 times higher. That single technology completion during the celebration window is worth 10 years of normal unity production delivered in one moment. Combined with the 6 months of boosted production you are already getting passively, one celebration window with the Societal Unification generates the equivalent of 180 months, 15 years of normal unity output. And it doesn't stop at one lump sum. You can stack multiple triggers during the same celebration window. Any event, any technology, any mechanic that awards resources based on monthly production becomes exponentially more valuable during these 6 months. The strategy is about front-loading as many of those triggers as possible into a single celebration. You can also funnel your entire economy toward a single resource before activating the celebration. You shift everything to unity production, ignoring consumer goods or other resources temporarily. You activate the celebration, collect your massive unity, and then rebalance your economy afterward. Any deficit that you run during the celebration is trivial compared to what you gained. Now that you understand the mechanic, let me show you the builds that exploit it the best. I have theory crafted 4 variations from the most accessible to the most powerful. The first one requires nothing outside of the Nomads DLC, it's the most flexible point. For the origin we go with the Prosperous Unification. This guarantees the Societal Unification is available from game start. That guarantee is the entire reason we picked this origin. We need to research that technology and complete it during our celebration celebration window, so it must be in our tech pool from the beginning. Also, the other effects are quite nice. We are gonna have more population and more output at the start of the game. For our civics, we go with the Star Seekers for obvious reasons and Exalted Priesthood. The Exalted Priesthood gives more unity from priests, which amplifies your output during the celebration. For our ethics, we're going for Fanatic Spiritualist plus Xenophobe. The Fanatic Spiritualist gives plus 20% monthly unity. This is a multiplicative modifier that scales with the celebration job efficiency bonuses. The second ethic is flexible. Xenophobe works, but you can run anything here depending on your preferences. For our species traits, we go with Traditional plus Natural Sociologist. The Traditional will boost unity from jobs directly, and Natural Sociologist will give societal research output so you can complete the Societal Unification early. Remember that the attack needs to finish during the celebration for the combo to work, so you need enough societal research to get it in time. There are some variations worth mentioning, like the Death Cult if you have the DLCs. The Death Priest will provide both unity and societal research, which means you don't need the Natural Sociologist because you won't have the biologist producing your research. Instead, that would be the priests, and you can then pick a different species trait. Byzantine Bureaucracy is another option for more unity from bureaucrats, and it will also give you some stability bonuses. Both are strictly better than the base build in my opinion, but the base build works fine without any extra DLCs. Now the second build is using the Galactic Curators, and it will be the version that I will be demonstrating in the gameplay. For our origin, we are going with Prosperous Unification for the same reasoning for the Societal Unification technology guaranteed from day one. For our civics, we are going with Galactic Curators plus Star Seekers, and here's why the Galactic Curators is insane for this strategy. The civic has a special mechanic. Each time that you find a specimen or complete an archaeological site, you gain 6 months of unity output. So that's pretty much another lump sum trigger, just like the Societal Unification technology. Now pair this with the Archivist Tradition tree. Completing the Archivist grants 3 specimens. If you complete the Archivist during the celebration, you're going to get that 6-month unity output with your boosted production. So for every specimen, you're not gonna be getting 6 months, but instead 6 months times 10 because of the celebration output. That's equivalent to 60 months of unity production for every single one of those perks that you get. Since there are 3 of them, you'd be getting 180 months worth of output just from the civic paired with the tradition tree. So if you get this, plus the Society Unification, which gives you another 12 months worth of unity, multiplied by 10, which is 120, then from the civic plus the Prosperous Unification with the Society Unification technology, that is 300 months worth of unity output. That is simply ridiculous. For our authority, we are going with the Imperial because this plus 10% resources from jobs, it is multiplicative with any job efficiency bonuses that we have, including those from the celebration. For our ethics, we are running the same thing as the first build, Fanatic Spiritualist plus Xenophobe. You can pair anything else here instead of the Xenophobe, that it will be fine. For our species traits, we have a different thing here. We have the Chromologs, which costs 4 points, very expensive, but it gives us plus 20% bureaucrat job efficiency. Pair that with the traditional, we will be getting plus 30% right at the game start. We also have the Natural Sociologist because we want to have the societal research, and we have the Rooted that gives us plus 3 points, and it prohibits our paths from automatically resettling. Now, we won't be resettling because we only have 1 arc ship, so that's not a problem at all. So this build right here is replicable across all authority types. The Galactic Curators and the Star Civics both have Hive Mind, Machine Intelligence, and Megacorp variations. The car combo, which is the specimen lump sums during the celebration, it works regardless of your empire type. Now there are also many variations for machine species empires. These variations exploit something that we have theorized about before the DLC launched, and it's now confirmed to work exactly as expected. The celebration gives plus 1000% specialist job efficiency and plus 1000% pop assembly speed. For machine empires that assemble pops instead of growing them, these 2 bonuses stack multiplicatively. You're assembling pops 10 times faster, and the robotic physicists are assembling them 10 times more efficiently. So the result is that you get more than 500 new pops every single month during the celebration. Over 6 months, that's roughly 3,000 new pops. About 60% of your starting population generated in half a year, which will further improve your snowball potential. Even after the celebration ends, those 3,000 new pops will continue to produce at normal rates, and you can even activate the burning approach for 50% more job efficiency. This will permanently accelerate your economy. Now there is also another variation with the synthetic fertility. This one takes a completely different approach. Instead of Unity, we are funneling everything into engineering research. Our origin, we have the synthetic fertility, which requires you to research 3 specific engineering technologies to synthetically ascend. So there are no event chains, nothing like that, just the 3 technologies. By redirecting our celebration window towards engineering output instead of Unity, we can blow through these 3 technologies very rapidly. This is especially powerful for Nomads because all Arkship and way station technologies are in the engineering tree. So even after we use the celebration to synthetically ascend our species, we can still make use of the extra engineering infrastructure that we have on our Arkship to continue pursuing improving our Arkships as well. For our authority, we are going with corporate. It enables corporate holdings, which are very good in the mid-game, and the worker cooperative civic, which is one of the strongest general purpose civics for nomadic empires. Since we are focused on research instead of Unity, we don't need the Unity boosting civic in this slot. The worker cooperative provides with all the basic resources needs we're gonna have throughout the game. That includes energy and mineral outcome as well as food. Of course, food we won't be producing after we synthetically ascend, but we can also sell them on the market or trade with other empires. Since trader jobs are also specialist, once we activate the celebration, and it also works for the burning approach, when we are not a celebration, we get the massive specialist job output. This massive specialist job output will produce us more trade, which trade is converted into Unity, energy, minerals, and food. So we will be getting more basic resources, more operational reserves, even though we are only buffing our specialists. This is not the case for any other empire, because the other empires, they rely on their worker population to produce these resources, and the worker population, it isn't modified by the burning approach from the Arkships and also the celebration. Those 2 only buff the specialists. For our ethics, we are going with the egalitarian, which is required for the worker cooperative, and fanatic materialist, which gives plus 10% research speed. For our species traits, we are going with the cranial mega trophy plus natural engineers. The cranial mega trophy requires a psionic portrait and gives plus 25% researcher job efficiency. The natural engineers adds plus 15% job efficiency for engineers. So combined, your engineering researchers are producing plus 40% at the game start, and if you go with the burning approach, that's plus 50% for a total of plus 90% job efficiency from day 1. The celebration lasts for 6 months, but your snowball needs to last for the rest of the game. The traditions that you completed during the celebration will give you permanent bonuses and the Ascension perk slots, so you gotta use those Ascension perks to further accelerate your empire. Wanderlust is the obvious pick for Nomads, as it gives scaling bonuses for exploration and the plus 2 districts reward. The lump sum resources you collected, they won't expire. If you gained enough Unity to nearly finish a 4th tradition tree, you can complete it at normal speed within the next few years while your economy rebalances. For the pop assembly builds, your 3,000 new pops are permanent. You can redistribute them across your Arkship jobs to optimize your economy for the mid-game transition. The key takeaway is that the celebration doesn't just give you a temporary boost, it permanently shifts your empire timeline. You're playing with mid-game numbers while everyone else is still in the early game. That lead can compound for the rest of the run. Now let me show you exactly how I executed this. I went with the Galactic Curators build and aimed for 3+ traditions before year 10. I will also show you some Wanderlust interactions that are quite good and that works across all builds, and it is incredibly valuable for any Stark Seekers playthrough obviously. So let's get into it. So here we have our empire with the Galactic Curators civic. The first thing we are going to do is just activate the Veneration of Saints, which is going to give us plus 5% job efficiency for our priests. The second thing we need to do is pick the Societal Unification technology. The other two options, they are not that relevant, but we are going for the technologies because after we ascend, we are going to shift our economy into tech output. Then what we gotta do is just send our science ship to explore. I like to leave the automation because we are just exploring systems, we are not serving them, so it doesn't really matter which option you go. You can go to any place in the galaxy. Now we need to explore 50 systems so we can have the celebration. As you can see, we must gain 49 more for a new celebration. This can be explored through either science ships, arc ships, or any type of vessels in your empire. For our arc ship, we are going to survey systems and harvest instead because we still need to make sure our operational reserves are not terrible, otherwise the celebration will last for a very short time. As a matter of fact, we can also go for the burn approach to give us more infrastructure build speed and job efficiency for the specialist and complex drones. First thing we're gonna do is also build up another science ship so we can survey and explore a little bit faster. We are also going to change the popular research mall, which we do not need it at the moment, and instead we are gonna go for a spiritual enclave so we can have more unity production. Okay, now we have our second science ship. We are gonna hire another scientist and you're gonna send them to explore systems as well. Here on our capital, we are gonna build a research lab because we are changing the popular research mall, which means we are gonna lose a lot of biologist jobs, which in turn will reduce the speed in which we complete the Societal Unification technology. So we gotta compensate it somehow. For our first tradition, it doesn't really matter what you grab here, but right now we are going for the prosperity so we can have a little bit more resources from our harvesting actions, and it will also increase our infrastructure build speed and reduce the build cost because as we are rushing unity, we can have a lot of traditions in the early game even before our celebration. Now on our capital, we already finished the spiritual enclave. What we're gonna do is just build more temples and research labs. We're gonna queue them up. We just need enough research so that we finish the Societal Unification a little bit soon, not terribly late. We can pick yet another tradition. Let's go with the standard construction templates as we talked before. Here both of our science ships got stuck going to the same systems, so I'm going to redirect this one to go to this path instead, otherwise they are going to be exploring in a very inefficient way. We're gonna build more temples and we can already pick yet another tradition perk. We are going for the modular superstructures because it's gonna give us one more district slot. Our second research lab, it is now completed, and I think we have enough tech to finish the Societal Unification technology within time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to produce some civilian industries because we want to replace the industrial trade quarter for yet another spiritual enclave once the festival goes on. Here we can pick yet another tradition. We are going to try to finish prosperity in the first round. So we go with the arc ship operations, then we go with the pursuit of profit and interstellar franchising. Now after we start queuing up the civilian industries, we're gonna start building more habitation decks. The reason for that is that once we change any of the zones, all of the jobs will get changed to the zone that we created. So if you have a lot of habitation decks, once we turn the industrial trade quarter into another spiritual enclave, we're gonna have tons and tons of extra priests. And speaking about unity, we got yet another perk. Let's go with the pursuit of profit. Now that our operational reserves are going down, we're gonna start harvesting resources in the surveyed systems where we have our arc shop. We're going to continue queuing up habitation decks. We just need 21 more systems explored in order to activate it. We already surveyed Alpha Centauri, so let's move and survey yet another system, the Larzumon. It is very important that we park our arc ship in one of the Wanderlust systems. If you don't know which systems count toward the Wanderlust, I will leave the link for our Wanderlust guide in the description. The reason for that will come later once we have our celebration. Now we finished the prosperity tradition option, but we won't pick anything here. We are going to leave this open, and there is a reason for that. We are going to continue queuing up more and more habitation decks, but now that our operational reserves are dropping incredibly low, we are going to start using our trade for something. We are going to buy 42 monthly energy and 42 monthly minerals, because this will compound in our operational reserves. As you can see, it is already going up again. We're gonna clear out one of these blockers. Sometimes you won't have any of these, which will enable you to build even more districts at the start of the game, but since we have them, you're gonna try to remove them, and perhaps you're gonna get one of these options, and I hope that we get the alloys, so we can instantly create yet another habitation deck. Now for our next tradition, we are not going to pick anything once again. We are gonna wait a little bit longer. Almost everything is coming together. We need only 5 more systems in order to host a celebration, and the Societal Unification technology is almost completed. Those are 2 of the prerequisites for our goals. So since it is almost time to activate this, we are going to accumulate 500 alloys and replace the industrial trade quarter to build an spiritual enclave. Unfortunately, we did not get lucky with the cluttered hangar base. We got exotic gases instead of alloys, but that is fine. We still have enough trade to just buy it from the market and then just instantly replace the industrial trade quarters for the spiritual enclave. It's gonna take 200 months. In the meantime, we gotta make sure that we don't finish the Societal Unification technology. We need to finish it only when we are hosting a celebration. Now here on the Lazumon system, where we have our arc ship surveying the system, we are gonna go very close to this hyperlane, because there is an enclave here, which, as you might know, it is a Wanderlust system. So here we have our situation, 3 more systems for the celebration, 1 more now, 1 more month to Societal Unification. We are not going to complete this now because we are not holding the celebration. So we are gonna change the research and just gonna leave it be like that and wait a little bit longer. Now we can already start hosting the festival. Our arc ship is here, right at the edge of the system. We are going to host the festival, which is gonna take 100 days in order to complete it. We are gonna wait, not gonna do anything in the meantime. Celebration almost ready. There we go. Now we are hosting the celebration. We are not gonna do anything yet. We're gonna wait a little bit further. The modifiers, they don't appear instantly. We gotta wait a little bit. 1 month passed. As you can see, we have the workforce bonuses. However, our Unity output has not updated. So we gotta wait yet another month until we have the good Unity output. Now we do have it, 1000 per month. We're gonna go ahead and pick the Societal Unification technology. Bam! Now we have 30,000 Unity commanders. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna go for our Ascension perks and we're gonna grab the Wanderlust. This will reduce the tradition cost for all of our future traditions. However, we must keep the game unpaused for now. So we're gonna select our next tradition, which is gonna be the Archivism. We're gonna pick the Xenopaleontology. We're gonna grab the Frontier Archaeology. This will give us 6 months worth of Unity since we are Galactic Archivists. As you can see, we picked the tradition, but our Unity actually increased. We're gonna do the same for these perks. We gained another Specimen, our Unity went up, another Specimen, our Unity went up once again. Now we can pick yet more traditions, it doesn't really matter. This you go for your game plan. Let's go for Statecraft, why not, right? So go here, and bam, we already finished our 3rd tradition. So we can pick anything here. Let's go for Mastery of Nature, and then let's go for the Mind over Matter, the Psionic Ascension. But here is how the trick comes online. So our celebration, it is still going on, as you can see here by this icon. We are gonna wait a little bit until the celebration is finished, because we still have a little bit more of our operational reserves. So 1 month more and the celebration will go off. There we have it. Now we can jump to the Landmass system, which is a Wanderlust system. We are just at the hyperlane. Look at our Unity. Bam! Another 10,000 because we visited a Wanderlust system. Let's now try to visit Lazumon once again, our old system. Let's see if we have enough time. Bam, yet another one, because here we have a disabled gateway, which is one of the Wanderlust systems. Here we have an enclave, another Wanderlust system. Every time that we visit one of these, we get another 6 months worth of Unity. So now we can go for our 4th tradition. Which one do you guys want? What about Discovery? So we go for Discovery. We only got this one to boldly go, but of course you can optimize this build even further. I know that you guys are very creative about how to do things, but this is the general setup for the build, commanders. As you can see, it is now year 5 into the game and we already have 3.5 traditions. It is not even year 10. Yeah, pretty strong, isn't it? But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this small guide, and if you did, don't forget to leave that like button. It helps me out a lot. And as always, commanders, I'll see you guys next time.